The story begins with Eddie Deacon, a decorated veteran, in a very difficult stage of his life, unemployed, exhausted, and struggling with emotional problems, apparently due to post-traumatic stress disorder and from having gone a long time without being able to see his daughter. During his job interview, Eddie makes it clear that he does not care about minimum wage. He mentions that since he returned to his country more than a year ago, he has not been able to get any job. His family is far away, 2 states apart. The only thing he wants is an opportunity to start over. The interviewer, while reviewing his resume, tells him that with his record and his rank as a Marine Corps captain, he could aim for a much better position. But Eddie interrupts her. He does not want to remain unemployed. He will accept whatever it is. Just as he was about to leave, the interviewer stops him. After thinking for a few seconds, she offers him a job as a night watchman in a remote shopping mall. The veteran accepts without hesitation. The only thing he needs is an opportunity, no matter how small. On the other hand, at an FBI facility, a special team escorts an 11-year-old girl named Jamie, a key witness and a crucial piece for gathering evidence against a powerful criminal organization known as 666. Her testimony could be decisive in dismantling the network, so her protection has become a top priority. After traveling a long distance along a lonely road, the phone signal begins to fail. Believing it is due to the storm, the agents continue on their way without paying much attention. However, at that moment, several vehicles appear from both sides of the road and switch their high beams to full power, blinding the drivers and forcing them to stop. What seemed like simple weather interference turns into a strategically planned ambush. A group of armed men steps out of the vehicles and opens fire mercilessly, systematically eliminating the agents. In the middle of the chaos, Jamie manages to escape through a nearby wooded stretch, running desperately under the rain while the escorts try to hold off the attackers. After finishing off all the agents, the hitmen begin to clean the crime scene, making sure to leave no trace. They collect the weapons, remove the bodies, and quickly check each vehicle, while other members of the group comb the wooded area looking for signs of the girl. A short time later, a flatbed truck arrives, onto which they load the FBI patrol cars as if they had never been there. Returning to our protagonist, after staying at a motel near his new job, he heads to the mall to start his first night shift. Upon arriving at the entrance, he is greeted by Vance, the shift supervisor, who guides him to the control center and introduces him to the rest of the team: Mason, Johnny, and Ruby, 3 guards with very different styles. After giving him his uniform, Vance gives him a tour of the facilities, showing him all the areas they must watch during the shift. Noticing the presence of riot barriers, reinforced cameras, and an unusually robust security system, Eddie comments that it seems like too much security for a simple mall. Vance tells him the place is located between 2 troubled towns, both controlled by rival gangs. Last year, 129 murders were recorded in the area, and at night it is common for addicts or criminals to try to break in to steal. Intrigued by his demeanor and body language, Vance asks if he has military experience, to which he responds that he was a captain in the Marines. Vance says he has worked with ex-military before, but in his experience, they tend to be problematic, not liking to take orders or follow civilian routines. After explaining the basic rules of the shift, he tells him to begin his first patrol, warning him that although it may seem like a quiet night, the place always has its unpredictable side. While patrolling his assigned area in the back corridors, Eddie hears a series of knocks on a door. As he approaches, he finds a soaked and terrified girl pounding desperately. It is Jamie. The veteran radios his teammates, and Vance tells him to wait for him to arrive. But seeing the girl's condition and noticing the panic in her eyes, Eddie disobeys the order and decides to open the door. The little one barely manages to shout that they are chasing her before fainting in his arms. Without wasting time, Eddie carries her to the control center, covers her with some blankets, and asks Vance to call the police, but he replies that the signal has just been lost. The other guards check their phones and confirm they have no connection. Mason checks the security cameras and detects that a man is approaching the main entrance of the mall. The guards move to the door. The man, with a calm but firm attitude, tells them he is looking for his daughter, an 11-year-old girl who ran away from home after a family argument. Without doubting his words, Vance tells him they have the girl and orders Johnny to bring her, but the veteran objects, mentioning that the little one was terrified and told him she was being chased by some men. He asks several questions, and the stranger answers each one precisely, remaining calm and convincing. Just as Vance is about to remove the chains from the door, Jamie regains consciousness and, seeing the man at the entrance, begins to scream and run desperately, causing an immediate change in the atmosphere. At that moment, another man appears carrying a metal briefcase. It turns out the supposed father is actually the leader of the mercenaries who ambushed the FBI convoy. He shows them the contents of the case and tells them there are $1.5 million in unmarked bills. His mission is to recover Jamie. The criminal offers the money in exchange for erasing the camera recordings and handing over the girl, or at least pretending they never saw her. He assures them that if they cooperate, no one will get hurt, that they can get rich without lifting a finger, and if anyone asks, they simply have to blame the storm for the signal loss. Vance looks hesitant, tempted by the money, but finally refuses. Then the mercenary changes his tone and issues a warning. They are 5 guards, poorly armed, without communications, without backup. If they do not cooperate, they will have to kill them all in a painful way. Faced with Vance's indecision as he prepares to open the door, Eddie acts quickly and knocks him out with a single blow, preventing the criminals from getting inside. He then closes the door, while the mercenaries, seeing their offer rejected, retreat for now, knowing the confrontation is just beginning. The veteran sets out to look for the little girl through the mall corridors, mentioning that he thinks he understands her situation. He tells her he has a daughter the same age named Sylvia, that he will not let anyone hurt her, and that if he were in her place, he would hope someone would do the right thing. At that moment, Jamie appears from her hiding place, pointing a toy shotgun at him. With a firm look despite her fear, she demands that he keep his word. Eddie, slightly raising his hands in a calming gesture, replies that he will, that she can trust him, and that he will not let anyone harm her. When he takes her back to the control room, Mason watches the girl closely. Upon hearing her name, he immediately recognizes her and tells the others that her father was the accountant for the 666 Mafia, a man who for years managed the organization's dirty money. However, he decided to secretly collaborate with the FBI with the intention of taking down the network from within, providing key evidence that could dismantle the entire criminal structure. Unfortunately, the mobsters found out, killed him brutally, and Jamie witnessed what happened, becoming the only direct witness. Now she is the key piece to destroying the mafia, which is why they are looking for her so insistently. They cannot allow her to reach the trial alive. At that moment, they see through the cameras that several armed men are in the parking lot. With the goal of preventing any escape attempt, the mercenaries destroy the guards' vehicles one by one, making sure to leave them completely isolated. Our protagonist, seeing the situation, asks Vance to take him to a safe place where they can hide Jamie. Without wasting time, they head to the maintenance room, a secluded and barely visible area within the complex. They hide the girl and leave her with a low-frequency radio to stay in touch without alerting the attackers. Before leaving, Eddie gives clear instructions. She must not make a sound, no matter what happens. Even if she hears screams, gunshots, or footsteps near the door, she must not come out under any circumstances. While monitoring the movements of the criminals through the cameras, Eddie points out that Charlie tricked them by claiming the patrols were under control. If they were, they would have already taken over the mall by force. He notes that there is still a chance that the patrols guarding the area are on their way. Their duty now is to resist for as long as possible. Even though they are clearly at a disadvantage, with limited resources and no signal, the veteran insists that they cannot give up or hand over the girl. They must buy time and hold out until help arrives. Mason begins to get nervous, pacing back and forth while repeating that he does not want to be part of this. Eddie stops him firmly and reminds him that they are already trapped. If he tries to leave on his own, they will kill him without a second thought. Judging by the way they move, their coordination, and the use of tactical gear, it is clear they are not ordinary criminals, but professional killers. Then, looking at the clock, Eddie calculates that about 45 minutes have passed since Jamie's arrival. The FBI must already know that the girl has disappeared, surely activating emergency protocols and sending teams in search of her. He insists that their only option is to hold out, stay firm, and resist the siege until help arrives. Later, we see the guards working quickly to reinforce all entrances to the mall, using tables, fences, and shelves as improvised barricades. Under Eddie's instructions, they place an electric fence with wires and portable batteries on one of the side doors. While carrying a sofa upstairs, Charlie orders his men to enter the mall. One of them begins climbing the structure at the main entrance, while another accelerates a vehicle against one of the doors to break it down. Without wasting a moment, the guards pour gasoline on the sofa and throw it onto the vehicle at the exact moment of impact, causing an explosion that engulfs the driver in flames. The leader of the mercenaries, unfazed, orders his sniper to finish off his companion's suffering. The guards quickly return to their positions, unaware that the assassin climbing the facade has managed to enter through a side window. He surprises Vance and attacks him with fury, starting a hand-to-hand fight. Just as the assassin is about to kill him, Ruby intervenes in time, striking the attacker on the head with a metal flashlight. They regroup with the rest of the team, and the veteran, with the mall map in hand, takes command of the defense. He quickly draws up an action plan and divides the group into strategic zones. Knowing that Johnny learned to make homemade bombs by watching online tutorials, he sends him with Mason to the electronics area to gather materials and prepare improvised explosives. Meanwhile, Ruby and Vance are sent to the perfume store, where they use sprays, glass, and flammable fragrances to create distraction traps. Shortly after, Eddie talks to Johnny and gives him a key instruction. If he sees any patrol near the area, he must use a flashlight from inside the building to send signals. He emphasizes that he must not go out under any circumstances, as snipers could be watching for any movement. At that moment, the little girl comes out of her hiding spot to speak with Eddie. She distrusts Vance and fears he might reveal her hiding place, so she plans to hide somewhere else only they know. She also tells him that she has an idea to defend herself. Meanwhile, the criminals manage to enter the mall. Charlie reminds them to eliminate all evidence. The place must look as if nothing happened. Upon reaching the control room, they connect to some surveillance cameras to track movements, but one of the hitmen dies upon touching an electrified fence connected to a hidden battery. Meanwhile, in her new hiding place, Jamie uses a toy car with a camera attached to approach the mercenaries. The vehicle carries a note instructing them to tune to channel 47 on their communicators. One of the criminals delivers the message to Charlie, who switches the channel and hears Eddie's voice. The veteran advises him to leave immediately. The girl has escaped without being noticed, the night patrol will pass soon, and the federal agents must already be searching for her. Unfazed, Charlie responds with a direct threat. He will offer an extra $100,000 bounty for the target's head. If by dawn the girl is still alive, they will track down all the guards' family members and kill them one by one. Likewise, their own lives are already doomed, but they can still decide the fate of their loved ones. Eager to get the bonus, the hitmen continue their search and arrive at the perfume store, where Ruby breaks one of the balloons to create a distraction, causing the mercenaries to shoot with all their arsenal. Taking advantage of the chaos, Ruby moves stealthily along a side and begins attacking them with her bow, then sets off a second distraction to disorient them and continue attacking from the shadows. However, the mercenaries finally locate her hiding spot and open fire until they empty their magazines. Feeling cornered, Ruby pretends to be dead. Thanks to this strategy, she saves her life, though she only injures one mercenary in the entire confrontation. Meanwhile, Mason manages to knock out one of the attackers with a stun gun, takes the weapon, and despite trembling hands and rapid breathing, shoots another mercenary approaching his hiding spot. Eddie communicates with his teammates via radio. Mason, visibly shaken, informs him that he needs urgent help. Without hesitation, the veteran approaches his position, drawing the enemy's attention to distract them, managing to get them to chase him down one of the corridors. Thanks to this, Mason manages to leave his hiding spot and change position without being seen, avoiding exposure to the hitmen. Meanwhile, outside, one of the snipers informs his boss that the sheriff is approaching the mall. Immediately, the criminal orders everyone to maintain absolute silence. From the restaurant area entrance, Johnny observes the agent and tries to use the flashlight to alert him, but the battery begins to fail. Nervous and frustrated, he decides to approach, disobeying the veteran's instruction. The sheriff, noticing no warning, leaves the area thinking everything is fine. Seeing him walk away, Johnny tries to open the door to shout to him, but at that moment, one of the snipers executes him with a precise headshot, ending his life immediately. After this, Eddie communicates with his teammates and reports Johnny's death. He orders them to move to the toy store and asks Jamie to use the toy car to distract the mercenaries. Then, our protagonist surprises the enemy group, throws himself onto one of the hitmen, using him as a shield while firing his own weapons, eliminating 4 of them in seconds. Running out of ammunition, a 5th attacker hits him from behind and knocks him down, starting a violent hand-to-hand fight. On the ground and taking multiple blows, the veteran lands a precise strike on the mercenary's legs, who breaks his neck against a table. At that moment, the climber appears by surprise, but Eddie blocks his attack with the same table, grabs a pistol on the ground, and fires repeatedly until emptying the magazine. When Ruby and Vance leave their hiding spot, they are surprised by 2 hitmen. Without thinking, Ruby pushes Vance to protect him and is shot in the abdomen. Her desperate companion carries her and runs to the toy store seeking help. At the same time, Eddie encounters 3 hitmen and neutralizes them with precision using both pistols. He then enters Mason's hiding spot. Hearing the footsteps, Mason reflexively fires with the weapon he had taken from the enemy. Eddie takes cover and shouts at him to stop. Approaching, he finds him paralyzed by fear, clinging to the gun with all his strength. He tells her she must follow him, or she will end up dead like the others. Together, they move down the corridor and manage to reach the toy store, where they reunite with the rest of the team. While Vance places Ruby on a bench, Eddie lowers the security shutter and fires at the mercenaries trying to reach them, covering the entrance until it is secured. Furious with his soldiers for failing again, Charlie decides to leave the control room. He communicates with the veteran, informing him that they are trapped. The only thing keeping them alive is the steel shutter. Despite the chaos he has caused, he offers one last chance. If Eddie hands over the girl, he will spare their lives. The veteran responds without hesitation, warning him that he is wrong, that the federal agents must already be nearby, and that if he chooses to stay, all his men will be captured or eliminated. At the same time, Vance quietly says goodbye to Ruby, who has died from blood loss. He takes up his weapon and stands with a hardened expression, ready to seek revenge. At that moment, Mason checks the surveillance cameras and notices several patrols stopped in the parking lot. He alerts the others, and Eddie detects an unmarked van among the vehicles. He deduces that it is part of Charlie's group and that they must take care of it to regain signal. He asks Mason to watch the girl and hands his pistols to Vance, who stays covering the entrance, furious at the death of his partner. When the criminals manage to destroy the shutter, Vance fires with precision, taking out 2 of them. He then targets a gas tank, detonating it and eliminating 3 more mercenaries. Meanwhile, Eddie advances down one of the side corridors, but is intercepted by police pointing their guns without giving him a chance to explain. They order him to kneel. Eddie raises his hands and explains that he works as a mall security guard and that his colleagues are resisting an armed attack. After managing to speak over the radio, he orders Mason to bring the girl to his position. Mason replies that he cannot. Leaving the hiding spot would make them vulnerable. Meanwhile, Vance continues resisting, and though he takes 2 shots to the torso, he keeps defending strategically, eliminating enemies and forcing a temporary retreat. His resistance allows Mason to run with the girl to a secondary exit. The criminals try to intercept them, which allows Vance to eliminate a couple more from his cover. Once they manage to escape, Vance is finally killed by the mercenaries. Returning to Eddie, he begins to suspect the supposed agents surrounding him. He notices that one of them has fresh blood on his shoes. Without hesitation, he uses the radio to communicate in code with Jamie, hoping she understands the message. However, Mason continues moving, not comprehending the warning. The infiltrators open fire, killing him before he can react. Jamie manages to escape down the corridor, while Eddie attacks the fake officers mercilessly, disarming the first and neutralizing him brutally, then eliminating the rest in seconds. Afterwards, he communicates with the girl and asks about Vance. With a trembling voice, Jamie replies that she believes he was killed. The veteran holds back for a moment and then instructs her to find Ruby's radio, left in the mattress section, and wait until she regains signal to call for help. Meanwhile, he will take care of the van blocking communications. What neither of them knows is that Charlie has been listening to the entire conversation. One of his low-frequency radios is set to the same channel. Unknowingly, Jamie has just revealed their exact location. Charlie orders his soldier to return to the van to prevent it from destroying the signal jammer. To reach the parking lot as fast as possible, the veteran does not hesitate to climb onto a motorized tricycle. He accelerates while Yamal chases him, firing both pistols until empty. Bullets whistle around them, piercing walls and shattering glass, but the veteran holds firm. When the hitman runs out of ammo, he charges at full speed and rams him from the side, throwing him off the tricycle. Both fall to the ground and begin hand-to-hand combat. Eddie lands a couple of precise hits, but Yamal's strength is superior. The mercenary easily dominates him, knocks him down, and begins striking mercilessly. However, the veteran refuses to fall, seizes a moment of distraction, and throws him to the ground with all his strength. He then chokes him using his own jacket. Yamal wriggles free, removes the garment, pulls out a claw knife, and lunges at Eddie, injuring him in the torso and leg, soaking his clothes in blood. Despite this, the veteran resists, blocks another attack, and using the mall keys, twists Yamal's arm and disarms him. The hitman runs to grab one of the fallen pistols, but Eddie takes the opportunity to get back on the tricycle, floors the accelerator, and, in a final effort, jumps from the moving vehicle, crashing it directly into the van that was blocking the signal. The fire spreads immediately, consuming the van and the frequency jammer, allowing communications to return instantly. Suddenly, a sniper shot grazes his leg. Eddie takes cover as best he can. From above, the shooter keeps him in sight. Furious about what happened, Yamal orders the sniper to stop. He wants to kill him with his own hands. The veteran, injured and panting, reaches the boss's vehicle. Desperately, he finds his pistol, aims with difficulty, and kills the sniper with a lucky shot. Just as he thinks he has a moment to breathe, Yamal tries to surprise him from behind, but Eddie anticipates and shoots him at point-blank range. Due to his multiple injuries, the veteran falls to the ground, his breathing slows, and he passes out next to Vance's vehicle. Meanwhile, inside the mall, Charlie arrives at the mattress section, finds Ruby's radio, and realizes that Jamie has already managed to communicate with the federal agents. Wasting no time, he turns off the device and screams in rage for her to come out of hiding. While searching for her, he recounts something from his childhood. One night, his father woke him up and said they were going on an unexpected trip. Excited, he thought it would be a vacation. He fell asleep during the journey, but when he woke up, he was alone in a distant station with only 50 pounds in his jacket. From that moment, he never saw his father again. He tells her that they have both been betrayed and abandoned, that he understands her pain, and offers a deal. If she refuses to testify, he will spare her life and care for her as if she were his own daughter. Jamie, without responding, moves silently among the objects, trying to get away, but Charlie finally spots her. At that moment, our protagonist appears in an epic entrance, staggering from his injuries, advancing with difficulty, but with a fixed gaze. While the criminal points at him, Jamie reacts and attacks him with a taser in an unexpected move. The veteran takes advantage and shoots him directly in the head, ending it all once and for all. Later, we see them exiting through one of the mall entrances just as agents storm the area with guns raised. Both are assisted by the medical team. We learn that Vance, against all odds, survived thanks to timely medical intervention. Sometime later, Jamie visits Eddie in the hospital, sits beside him, sincerely thanks him for everything he did, and tells him she will leave the country. Her uncle will take care of her. In the final scenes, we see our protagonist reuniting with his family after a long time apart. He hugs his wife and surprises his daughter with a teddy bear.